What happens when the wall that protects your franchise quarterback suddenly disappears? That's the nightmare scenario facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just weeks before kickoff, the team received gut-punch news. All-pro tackle Tristan Wirfs won't be ready to start the season. In an instant, the fortress on the left side collapsed, and in the wreckage, one unfamiliar name has stepped forward. Charlie Hack. To the average fan, he's a footnote, a journeyman, but now? He's the man being asked to hold the line, literally. The former fourth-round pick has bounced around the league, quietly fighting for snaps in cities like Houston, Arizona, and San Francisco. Last year, he was called off a practice squad on Christmas Day, thrown into action just 5 days later. He barely had time to learn names, let alone the playbook. And still, he lined up. He fought. He bled. Heck's past performances weren't pretty, and they weren't supposed to be. He was playing catch-up in a brutal, unforgiving league. But what he lacked in Polish, he made up for in guts. Now, for the first time in his career, he's being given something precious: time. A full off-season to prepare, a chance to earn trust, a moment to prove that he's more than a stopgap. Tampa Bay doesn't need perfection from Heck, but they need a fighter. And if the Bucs are going to survive without Wirfs, if their season isn't derailed before it even begins, then Charlie Heck will need to become more than just a replacement. He'll need to become a protector of the future. With Tristan Wirfs out of the lineup, the Buccaneers are facing more than just a personnel shift. They're dealing with an identity crisis on the offensive line. And behind every crisis lies a choice. Right now, the first bet has been placed on Charlie Heck. He's getting every first-team rep at left tackle this offseason. That kind of repetition matters. It's how a journeyman becomes a starter. But even with Heck's experience bouncing between right and left tackle in the NFL, this is uncharted territory. He's never faced expectations like these. Still, the Bucs are hedging their bets with a wild card: Benjamin Chukwuma, a raw, untested force with the kind of athletic ceiling scouts dream about. Chukwuma didn't play a single snap of college football until 2023. 1 year. That's all he's got on tape. And yet, in that brief window, he flashed signs of dominance, especially in a standout performance against Vanderbilt, where he stonewalled defenders like a seasoned vet. The Buccaneers saw enough. They offered him the highest guaranteed money of any undrafted free agent this offseason, $55,000. That's not just an invite to camp. That's a message: we believe in you. But belief alone won't stop a free rusher on 3rd and long. Which leads to another possibility: a veteran reinforcement. The name being whispered: Justin Skule, a swing tackle who saw real action last season and who arguably outperformed Heck in limited reps. He's currently with the Vikings, but a late-round trade, maybe a 6th or 7th, could bring him to Tampa. It's the kind of low-risk move that could quietly stabilize a crumbling edge. Then there's the fantasy: a shot in the dark. Tyron Smith. Yes, that Tyron Smith. A legend of the trenches. Retired for now. But imagine, just imagine, if Tampa Bay could convince him to lace up the cleats one more time. To become a mentor, a guardian, a last line of defense. That's what the Bucs are facing. Not just a decision between players, but a decision about philosophy. Do they trust the promise of youth? Do they double down on grit and growth? Or do they chase the security of experience, even if it costs them a draft pick or a dream? The clock is ticking. And somewhere behind closed doors in the Tampa Bay facility, phone calls are being made, names are being circled, and the future of the offensive line is being decided. Every move a team makes in the offseason tells a story, not just about who's stepping in, but about who might be stepping out longer than anyone expected. So when a name like Tyron Smith starts surfacing as a possible target for Tampa Bay, it sends a message, and it's a loud one. Because you don't bring in a future Hall of Famer unless you fear the worst. If the Buccaneers were to sign Smith, it would be a white flag, a silent admission that Tristan Wirfs might not be back anytime soon. That this isn't just a 3-week absence, that the blindside void could stretch deeper into the season or longer. But there are quieter options. Options that whisper instead of scream. George Fant is one of them. A veteran with scars, miles, and just enough left in the tank. He's been in and out of starting lineups, shifted from left to right, benched, brought back, and through it all, he's held his own. Fant isn't a splash. He's a sponge, absorbing whatever chaos the line throws his way. He played 840 snaps at left tackle in his prime, and more recently held steady at right. He's not flashy, but he's functional. And right now, Function is survival. You don't bring in Fant to change the season. You bring him in so it doesn't collapse. Maybe you make him the swing tackle, giving Heck the reins early on and holding the line until Wirfs returns. Maybe it's a quiet camp competition. Maybe it's simply insurance, because one more injury and Tampa's depth chart becomes a danger zone. But the names don't stop there. Andres Pete, once a highly touted lineman, is floating on the fringes. His resume says guard, but his early years at left tackle, particularly in 2016 and 2017, weren't awful. He even lined up outside for the Raiders last season. The results? Let's just say, inconsistent. Injuries have slowed him. His tape is uneven. He's a roll of the dice, the kind of player who could either stabilize a unit or get steamrolled on Sundays. So, here's the dilemma. Do you go all in with a player like Tyron Smith, knowing it may signal something deeper about Wirfs' timeline? Do you hedge with Fant, steady, reliable, unspectacular? Or do you hope a reclamation project like Pete still has something left in the tank? The decisions being made in Tampa right now aren't just about patching holes. They're about reading the tea leaves, following the smoke, and figuring out whether the fire is small or something much worse. There's one more layer to the Buccaneers' silent search for protection, the veterans still wandering free. Among them, Isaiah Wynn, a former first-round pick once trusted to guard Tom Brady's blind side in New England. For a brief stretch between 2019 and 2021, Wynn looked like a long-term solution. Quick feet, decent hands, solid instincts. But injuries piled up, consistency faded, and now at 28, Wynn represents the ultimate question mark. Could he rediscover that early promise? Could a fresh start in Tampa reawaken the player he once was? Maybe. Maybe not. But the Bucs are desperate enough to ask. Then there's Germain Ifedi, once a key piece on Seattle's offensive front, now a veteran journeyman scraping for another chance. He logged meaningful snaps in Cleveland, bouncing between right and left tackle, not flashy, but functional. At 31, he's more experienced than upside, more floor than ceiling. And that's the theme here. The Bucs aren't hunting stars. They're building a survival kit. Between Fant, Wynn, Ifedi, even a potential trade for Justin Skule, the strategy is clear. Build depth, cover holes, and hope Tristan Wirfs returns before the ship takes on too much water. Other names, like Jedrick Wills, are off the table. He's reportedly sitting the year out, and the team believes him. Andres Pete, despite early career flashes, simply isn't reliable enough anymore. Even Saints fans seem relieved he's gone. That says a lot. So now, the Buccaneers stand at a crossroads. They can roll the dice with Charlie Heck and an unproven rookie behind him. Or they can patch the line with veterans who've seen the wars, even if their best days are behind them. Every path has its risks. And with week 1 creeping closer, the pressure's no longer just about who's available. It's about how long Tampa Bay can afford to wait.